This video is going to explain how to do the ceiling glitch in Super C in Area 8. This is a video that just explains how to do it because I don't really know how it works, but it saves time. It saves about 3 seconds or so in the any percent category, and in the low percent category and the other categories it can save approaching 10 seconds or more, so it's really handy. So how to set up the glitch is that you'll get to this point in Area 8. And once you're here, what you're going to be doing is you're going to be scrolling the screen up to a certain point, and then instead of taking the top path, you'll be taking the bottom path. So we need to get high enough so that the screen scrolls to the right, even though we're on the bottom path. So normally it doesn't scroll, but if you get high enough, it'll scroll as you move to the right, even though you're on the bottom path. So this isn't quite enough, but a little higher and the screen will scroll with you. And then to actually set up the glitch, what you need to do is you need to jump over, and then as you get almost to the end of your jump and land in the pit, turn left. And then your character will bounce over a pit, because they do that in Contra, and you'll get pushed over. And then when you respawn, if you've done it correctly, there's 2 platforms that are on the screen now. There's one that's sloping up, there's one that's sloping down. You'll respawn on the platform on the right if you've done it correctly. As far as the visual cue for setting it up, you need to be here to set it up. To play it a little, my recommendation is play it a little bit safe, and the visual cue, just walk past the platform that's sloping downward toward your head, and then jump straight up, and then land. If you don't move forward enough, if you don't go far enough up the slant and jump, you won't have enough height to scroll the screen, and if you mess it up by trying to save a few frames, you'll lose a ton of time. So now that I've set it up, the screen's going to scroll with me. I'll turn left, and I should have it. The window, as far as turning left at the end of your jump, isn't super tight, but you can screw it up. So here, I just didn't go far enough, and because I messed that up and didn't go far enough to the right, the game is going to spawn me on the left side, and I've botched my opportunity to do the glitch. So if you've done it correctly, you'll respawn on the right. The window is reasonably generous, it just takes a little practice. So as far as considerations go, once you've done this, it's actually quite dangerous, and so I'll get into that in a little bit, so I'll set this up one more time. Keep shooting. Watch out for guys that spawn from above, because they can jump and interrupt you from doing the jump. So you're going to respawn on the right platform. You'll have some invincibility frames. They're going to run out on you while you're in midair, and at this point here you've got the pea shooter. So what you need to do is you're going to be way further to the right of the screen than what you're used to being. So what you need to do is shoot down to take care of enemies that may spawn, and start shooting to the right, because enemies can spawn on you pretty quickly. So occasionally you're going to have to jump up and shoot down, so I have to jump up and shoot down to take care of the guy behind me. But while I'm in midair, I want to make sure that I'm taking out enemies that may have come from the right. Now I can't jump up here, so I'll just point up and take out this guy. So keep shooting to the right, because enemies can spawn just immediately in front of you, so you got to watch out for that. So what's going to happen is, as I get far enough, the ceiling is just going to come down and kill me, so it's just really weird, but that's just how it works. And I'm going to respawn right on top of the ceiling, and this is where the fun begins. So I'm going to be moving to the right. You want to keep shooting because enemies can spawn, and you want to take them out. The bubbles that you're used to dealing with coming from the top are now going to spawn pretty much right on top of you. The bubbles will flash for a little bit before they can actually hurt you, so what you want to do is you want to run past them a little bit and start jumping, and then shoot down maniacally. Like, shoot down as quickly as you can. It's a little bit easier for me to do in real time. So the ceiling's going to come down, and then as I get a little bit further, the bubbles are going to spawn pretty much on top of me, so I jump in between the... just as I get in front of the last two, so I'm going to jump there, and then shoot down a lot. Where the enemies are going to spawn from the left and the right sides is completely random, so you want to make sure as you're going to the right that you keep shooting to the right. Depending on how the enemies spawn, so I'm going to jump between the first three and the last two. So you're going to keep shooting to take out enemies that spawn to the right, just like that one there. One thing I didn't mention, so I'm going to reload this really fast, is the ceiling's going to come up and down, so we'll just get past the first wave of bubbles here. As the ceiling comes back up, you need to anticipate when it's going to come up, and you need to be in the air. What happens if you're not in the air is that the ceiling will rise further than you do and catch you, and then you won't go to the right, and eventually you'll die. Like so. You've got a little bit of a window, but not much. So you've got a few frames, but ideally, if you don't want to lose any time, you want to make sure you're in the air before the ceiling catches you. So jump between the last group there. So I was a little late on the jump, so that's why I died. Timing on this is a bit tight. Now if you can try and take out the guys coming from the left. For the last... so if you keep moving to the right without stopping, the ceiling's going to rise and fall 3 times. So you've got 3 waves of bubbles to deal with that are very difficult. The last one is the most dangerous one. As you keep moving to the right, as the ceiling rises for the 3rd time, it will be the last time that it rises. And if you die before the game restores the room correctly, the game will soft lock. So I'll just make a state here and show you what that's like. So this is the 3rd rise, and so if I die here, so I'm going to go ahead and die, the game now soft locks, and you can't do anything, and it's instantly run over. You got to reset. So reloading it here. On the last one, you don't have the luxury of jumping over the bubbles. If you jump to try to get over the bubbles like you did in the previous ones, what will happen is that you'll actually get caught in the ceiling. If you notice the room's kind of restored itself, although the game didn't soft lock because I was able to get far enough to the right for the room to kind of correct itself, if you die in the ceiling here, you've effectively negated some of the time benefits you've gotten from doing the trick, so ideally you don't want that to happen. For the last group, what you want to do is this is super tight, but you've got to position yourself between the bubbles and just shoot immediately, because as soon as the bubbles appear, they're going to move in on you. So it's the toughest one of them all. So you can't jump because you get caught in the ceiling. You've got to get between the bubbles and you've got to shoot like crazy. So it's an extremely difficult trick. It's an extremely risky trick. It can save a little bit of time if you're doing any percent. It can save a significant amount of time if you're doing low percent or any of the 2-player categories. And it just looks awesome. So let me know if you have any questions.